chasing her doesn't make you desirable, it makes you forgettable. They say chasing her proves you care, but the Stoics would tell you, it only proves you've lost control. When you run after someone's attention, you teach them that your worth depends on their validation. A Stoic man doesn't chase. He attracts through silence, strength, and self-respect. Because the moment you stop seeking approval, you become unforgettable. The moment you chase a woman, you flip the power dynamic. You send a silent message. You're the prize, I'm the pursuer. And in that moment, her respect for you starts to fade. Stoicism teaches that attachment to external things, like someone's attention, is the root of suffering. When you chase, you're not acting from strength. You're reacting from fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being enough. A Stoic man understands that love without self-respect isn't love, it's dependency. He knows that chasing is not a sign of passion, but a symptom of weakness. So instead of chasing, he stands still. He lets silence do the talking. Because when a man stops seeking, he begins to attract. And that's when she starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me? When you stop chasing, something unexpected happens. Your energy changes, and she feels it. When you stop chasing, your energy transforms. You go from, I need her, to I choose myself. That shift is magnetic because confidence without words always speaks the loudest. A woman can sense when a man's center of gravity is inside himself, not revolving around her. She may not understand why, but she feels it. Your presence becomes calm, grounded, and unbothered. You're no longer reacting to her moods or validation. You've detached from the outcome. This is the Stoic secret, emotional independence. It's not about ignoring her out of pride. It's about mastering your inner world so no one else can control it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That includes her attention, her silence, and her choices. The Stoic man focuses on what he can control: his thoughts, his discipline, his direction. And when you do that, ironically, that's when she starts chasing you. But there's a deeper reason why chasing never works. It's wired into human psychology itself. Chasing flips the power dynamic. The moment you chase, you place her on a pedestal and subconsciously tell her she's above you. But attraction doesn't grow from need. It grows from respect and mystery. Psychology calls it the scarcity principle. When something seems hard to obtain, it becomes more valuable. When it's always available, it loses its edge. That's why the man who constantly texts, calls, or tries to prove his worth becomes invisible, not irresistible. A Stoic man understands this truth. He doesn't seek validation, he embodies it. His silence, his focus, his absence, they speak louder than words ever could. Because what's rare commands attention, and what's calm commands respect. When you stop chasing, you stop bleeding energy. You preserve your dignity. And paradoxically, that's when women notice you more than ever. So how do you become that man? Calm, grounded, and unforgettable without trying. It begins with mastering the discipline of detachment. Here's the irony most men never understand. The moment you stop chasing a woman is often the moment she starts noticing you. Why? Because detachment isn't about playing games. It's about power, emotional power. When you no longer seek her validation, she feels the gravity of your absence. You become something rare, a man who doesn't orbit her world. Women are biologically drawn to strength, and strength in the modern world isn't about muscles or dominance. It's about self-control. When you can walk away without bitterness or drama, it signals that your sense of worth isn't tied to her approval. That's Stoic mastery in motion. Think of Marcus Aurelius. The man ruled an empire, yet never let external praise define his peace. He understood that detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means freedom from emotional slavery. The paradox is simple. The more you need someone, the more they feel trapped. The less you need them, the more they are drawn to your mystery, your silence, your calm, your lack of chase. These things create space for attraction to breathe. Let her wonder what's going on in your mind. Let her feel that distance not as coldness, but as confidence. The Stoic man doesn't punish with silence. He simply doesn't fill empty spaces with desperation. And when she realizes she's no longer the center of your universe, that's when she starts to feel your absence as power. In the next chapter, we'll uncover how your emotional control becomes the ultimate weapon in relationships, the invisible force that turns quiet confidence into magnetic attraction. In a world driven by impulse, the man who can control his emotions becomes unstoppable. Most men react to rejection, to silence, to her mixed signals. But the Stoic man, he responds with composure. That's the difference between a boy seeking attention and a man commanding respect. When a woman tests you, ignores your message, withdraws affection, or provokes your ego, she's not trying to destroy you. She's unconsciously testing the strength of your frame. She wants to feel that you're unshakable, that your peace isn't negotiable. Emotional control is what separates the men she forgets from the men she can't stop thinking about, because calmness is rare. It radiates stability, maturity, and quiet dominance. A Stoic doesn't suppress emotion, he observes it. He feels anger, desire, disappointment, but he never lets them dictate his behavior. He channels them into purpose, discipline, and presence. When you remain grounded in chaos, you become her emotional anchor, and that creates a paradoxical pull. She feels safer around you because you're detached. She trusts your steadiness more than any sweet words could ever convey. This is why women are drawn to men who seem mysterious. It's not about being distant, it's about being centered. The less you're moved by emotional storms, the more power you command without saying a word. Remember this: silence mixed with emotional mastery speaks louder than any attempt to convince or chase. Your calm becomes her curiosity. Your restraint becomes her desire. And in the next chapter, we'll explore how this self-mastery transforms not just your relationships, but your entire masculine identity. A Stoic man doesn't seek control over others. He seeks control within himself. That's where real dominance begins, not in chasing validation, but in mastering your mind, your impulses, your focus. Most men lose power because they hand it away to distractions, to lust, to other people's opinions. They live reactively, not intentionally. But the Stoic understands the moment you need something external to feel complete, you've already lost your freedom. True strength is quiet. It doesn't demand attention, it commands it. When your energy is no longer scattered chasing people or approval, it gathers into something magnetic. You begin to move differently, speak differently. Your presence alone carries authority. Women notice it immediately, not because you try to impress them, but because your peace cannot be shaken. Your confidence doesn't come from her response. It comes from knowing who you are. Every day, life will test this mastery. People will provoke you. Situations will frustrate you. Emotions will tempt you to react. But if you remain disciplined, if you return to your principles instead of your impulses, you become untouchable. This is the Stoic way. Lead yourself first, and everything else will align naturally. You don't chase, you attract. You don't argue, you demonstrate. You don't react, you choose. And in the final chapter, we'll see how this inner mastery makes you not only unforgettable to women, but respected by every man who crosses your path. When a man stops chasing, he becomes a mystery. When he stops needing, he becomes a force. The paradox is simple. The less you seek validation, the more people feel drawn to you, because emotional detachment is rare and it signals power. A Stoic man doesn't ignore women out of pride or ego. He simply understands that his purpose is bigger than being liked. His calmness under pressure, his restraint when others overreact, that's what sets him apart. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. He's not cold, he's centered. He's not distant, he's focused. His energy no longer leaks through obsession, comparison, or insecurity. It's directed inward, building his empire, his mind, his discipline. And that's exactly why people remember him, because when you meet a man who isn't trying to impress, who walks with quiet certainty, who doesn't flinch when ignored, you feel something. You feel his self-respect, and that energy lingers long after he's gone. That's what makes you unforgettable, not your looks, not your words, but your unwavering peace. The man who doesn't chase becomes the one they can't forget, because he's living what everyone else is still searching for: inner freedom. In the end, that's the Stoic rule. Never chaser. Chase purpose. Chase mastery. Chase the version of yourself that stands tall in silence. Because when you do, everything worth having will come to you effortlessly. If there's one thing you should remember from this, it's that real power doesn't come from control. It comes from composure. The man who never chases doesn't do it to play games. He does it because he values his energy, his purpose, his dignity. Every time you resist the urge to beg for attention, every time you walk away instead of pleading for love, you strengthen the foundation of your character. That's the silent confidence Stoics live by. So stop worrying about being liked. Start working on being respected. Stop chasing women. Start chasing peace. Because in the end, the woman who truly belongs in your life will never need to be pursued. She'll naturally walk beside you. Now it's your turn. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I chasing validation, or am I becoming the man I'm meant to be? The choice defines your legacy. Stay calm, stay disciplined, and remember, silence isn't weakness. It's your greatest weapon.